Welcome back to Do-It-Myself Garage. Pulling some of this stuff out of the car that I had in there before, trying to get the electrical simplified, and then I'll put stuff back in. So I had this radio in the glove box. So I actually have a glove box, but I don't have the insert in there right now. So this was in place of that. I had some speakers in there. I've got 6x9s in the rear window. I had these basically underneath the seats kind of. So I just took all that junk out and working on redoing the electrical. As mentioned before, I'm going to turn you around here. The car in the background. As mentioned before, the kickdown wasn't working. And remember in our last episode that I tore it apart and turned out the detent switch wasn't attached properly, so it was kicked down all the time. Well, then I went and tested my switch, and for some reason my accelerator, the switch on the accelerator for the kickdown was 12 volts all the time. It's supposed to be normally open, and then when you press it down, it's supposed to make a connection, send 12 volts to the detent switch, and boom, then you have a kickdown. Let's go ahead and I'll grab my tester real quick and we'll test this out, see if it works. I got this from the parts place. It says switch 70 to 72 Chevelle cowl induction throttle switch CH143. And then it said it was GM part number 1242101. And let's see if this is wired properly or if this one is backwards also. I'm hoping, you know, it's wired the right way. All right, let's do this again. Doesn't matter which one is in there, but there should not be continuity right now. I'm trying to get these so they stay. Really should get the clips that go on these. That would really make my life easier. Okay. Now I'm just going to press the switch and then it should make connection. Yep. The not connecting is me moving my hand over here, but so there we go. That's the proper switch. The other one was connected, and then when it got depressed, it disconnected, so it was the opposite. I'm guessing someone replaced it out of another car that was similar. It looked the same, and then it was just wired wrong, or maybe the switch was put together backwards. I don't know. So anyway, I'm going to install this, and then we'll take the car for a drive. We'll see if I can't figure out how to film myself driving a little bit. Took her for a drive. First gear, second gear, third gear. Hit the gas to downshift it, and all I hear is a bang. Bronze distributor gears. Yeah, that's a great idea. Get into focus here. It's a goner, boys and girls. So, there's a couple reasons why that could be bad. Number one, it felt dry as heck. So, after doing some reading, it's very possible that the plugs that were put in the back, there's one that goes, it's actually down in the distributor hole. There's a couple of oil gallery plugs. They're supposed to have like a 30 or 40 thousandths diameter hole drilled into them so that the oil gets down onto that gear. Now, I do have a high volume oil pump, and apparently that can cause a bit of stress on these as well. It puts more stress on this driving gear here. So that puts more stress on this turning. So that's possibly the case as well. The way it's worn out like perfectly on center, like dished out. So I think, my alignment, I don't think there was a problem there. All right, so I'm gonna go do a little bit of work, put a screwdriver on there, turn the pump. Should be able to turn the pump by hand with just a screwdriver. I don't need the primer. What I do is turn it just a little bit and should see some oil shooting out. If not, I do have a mirror. I'll try to look down in there and see if I can see if there's any holes in those rear plugs to see if any oil was actually getting down in there. All right, so down inside there is a rear oil gallery plug that lines up with the distributor shaft. And what Pontiac did on the later 455 HOs and I believe 72, 73, from what I was reading, if I remember correctly, they drilled a 40 thousandths hole in that plug, and that helps to lubricate the shaft, so when you go to the higher pressure pumps, that the gear actually gets some lubrication. I have a little like, it's like almost like a dental mirror, whatever. Put that in there, and the plug is in there, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't get any oil pressure. That's actually a big problem on Pontiacs with a lot of engine builders, not realizing that that oil gallery plug is back there. But an even bigger problem is now when we go to these performance engines and we want to run a bronze gear, or even if I put a Melonized Steel one in there, you still want to have some lubrication on it. So if the camshaft was only turning the distributor for the timing, not a problem. But the fact that it has to drive that oil pump, which takes a significant amount of torque, that's why it's wearing out. So I'm going to probably go with a Melonized Steel gear. Spend a little bit extra money on that. It's like 85 bucks for the gear, but I want some longevity out of this engine. I'm going to drop the pan tomorrow, drain all the oil out, see how bad it is. Doesn't look like there's a lot of chunks down in here, so I'm hoping get by with just an oil change. But what I am going to want to do is I'm going to want to pull that plug out of there. I'm being told you can't do it in the car. Heard one guy said yes you can, but it'll take you forever. Alright, so I did manage to get it out of there. It just fell into the bottom, which should have just fallen into the pan. If it didn't, then I might have some other issues here. Alright, I think that's going to be the end of the video for this week. I already started filming the beginning of the next video. But as you can tell, I'm starting to disconnect everything. I did get that bolt out, that oil galley bolt, but I dropped it. And then I realized, well, I wanted to take the pan off anyway to do some inspection. You can't remove the oil pan on these very easily without pulling the engine, or at least lifting it up quite a ways. Well, I lift it up, I got to disconnect the transmitter. You know, I should just take the whole thing out, do it proper. So that's going to be the end of the video for this week. Join me next time, and I should be pulling the engine out, putting the engine back. That should be what the next video entails. I have like 5 days to work on this, so I should be able to get it done within a couple of days, depending on what I get for interruptions. I am supposed to be on vacation, trying to enjoy myself. One of the things I wanted to do was enjoy my car. It is what it is, owning older cars. It's really frustrating that $5 part, somehow I missed it in all my research, is causing this much problem. But you know what? I'm going to inspect everything, make sure everything's good, and then I'll have this car to enjoy for a very long time. Thanks again for following along. Thanks for being patient with me. I know a lot of people follow along in the forums. They're like, pull the engine, pull the engine. I was really hoping I could get by without it. Not necessarily trying to take a shortcut, but you know, who wants to pull an engine and transmission? I don't have a lift. It's just me. So anyway, thanks again for following along, and have a great day.